What if the chocolate milk you've been buying for your kids every single week had detectable levels of lead in it, and nobody at the store thought to tell you? That's not a hypothetical. Consumer testing has found heavy metals showing up in cocoa-based products at levels that exceed California's daily safety limits. And bottled chocolate milk is not exempt from that conversation. Some brands you'd recognize immediately are in this video for exactly the wrong reasons. We're breaking down 11 of them, so you know which ones to drop and which 3 are actually worth buying. Number 1, Nesquik ready-to-drink chocolate milk. Nesquik is probably the first chocolate milk you picture when someone says chocolate milk. The bunny, the yellow bottle, the fact that it's in every single grocery store for a few bucks. Parents grab it on autopilot because it's been around their whole lives. But flip that bottle over and read the ingredients. Carrageenan is in there, a seaweed-derived thickener that some studies link to gut inflammation, and it has no business being in a drink made for kids. The cocoa isn't Dutch processed either, so it's a thinner, lower-grade chocolate that needs a heavy sugar load just to taste like anything. When a brand won't tell you where its cocoa comes from, that silence is an answer. Number 2, Yoo-Hoo chocolate drink. Yoo-Hoo isn't chocolate milk. Read the label and it actually says chocolate drink. And that's not an accident or technicality, it's because the FDA won't let them call it milk when the base ingredient is water. Water comes first, then high fructose corn syrup, then whey, and somewhere near the bottom, a small amount of cocoa. Your liver processes high fructose corn syrup differently than regular sugar, and regular consumption ties directly to elevated triglycerides and fatty liver risk. That's what you're handing a kid when you grab this off the shelf. The cocoa content is so low it can't deliver any real benefit. You're left with brown-colored sugar water and a bottle designed to look like it belongs in the dairy aisle. Number 3, True Moo chocolate milk. True Moo dropped high fructose corn syrup and got a lot of praise for it, but that's a pretty low bar when the rest of the formula still has problems. Carrageenan is still in there, and so are natural flavors, which sounds fine until you find out that phrase legally covers a wide range of processed flavor compounds. Something can be called natural if it started from a natural source, even after significant processing. The cocoa isn't Dutch processed, so it's thin and acidic, and the sugar load is still high because that's the only way to make low-grade cocoa taste like anything. The low-fat version is worse. Strip the fat out and manufacturers have to add more thickeners and more sugar to compensate. Number 4, Hershey's chocolate milkshake. Hershey's is basically America's chocolate brand, so when you see that name on a bottle of chocolate milk, you assume the chocolate part is real. It's not built on cocoa powder, it's built on Hershey's chocolate syrup, and syrup-based drinks carry more sugar per unit of chocolate flavor than cocoa-based ones do, with none of the antioxidant compounds that actual cocoa solids contain. Corn syrup and artificial flavor are also on the ingredient list, so you're not even getting clean syrup. Independent consumer testing has flagged Hershey's chocolate products for lead and cadmium. The ready-to-drink format dilutes that somewhat, but the underlying sourcing questions don't disappear just because the cocoa got mixed into milk. Number 5, Shamrock Farms Rockin' Protein Chocolate. Shamrock Farms actually makes one of the best bottled chocolate milks you can buy, and we'll get to that. But their protein version is a completely different product. The Rockin' Protein line adds whey protein concentrate to hit its numbers, and keeping protein stable in liquid form requires a chemical support crew. Dipotassium phosphate, sucralose, and acesulfame potassium. Those last two are artificial sweeteners sitting right alongside real sugar in the same bottle. When a formula mixes both, it's because neither one alone can do the job, and you taste that, a slightly chemical, off-sweet finish that lingers. Adding protein also changes the fat chemistry of the drink, so the cocoa quality drops and more stabilizers come in to mask it. Number 6. Dairy Pure chocolate milk. Dairy Pure sounds like it's making you a promise right there in the name. Clean dairy, simple ingredients, nothing to worry about. The formula tells a different story. The cocoa in Dairy Pure isn't alkalized, so it's more acidic and thinner tasting, and the only way to make that drinkable is to load in more sugar. Non-alkalized cocoa also retains more of the natural compounds that pick up heavy metals from soil, because the alkalization step that Dutch processed cocoa goes through actually changes how those contaminants bind to the cocoa solids. Skip that step, and you keep more of what you don't want. Carrageenan is in there too, so you've got 3 problems in one bottle with pure printed on the front. Number 7. Horizon Organic Low-Fat Chocolate Milk. Horizon Organic is the one parents grab when they're trying to do right by their kids. Organic label, clean branding, marketed to health-conscious families. It feels like the responsible choice, but it's low-fat, and that's where the formula falls apart. Fat carries chocolate flavor, so when you pull it out, the taste goes flat and the texture goes thin. And Horizon fixes that by adding carrageenan, stabilizers, and more sugar. You're back to the same additive playbook as the cheaper brands. The organic certification is real, but it only covers farming practices. Lead and cadmium get into cocoa through the soil itself, not through pesticides, so organic does nothing to reduce that exposure. Number 8. Muscle Milk. Genuine chocolate. Muscle Milk lives in a different mental space than the other drinks on this list. It's gym culture, recovery, protein targets. It doesn't feel like a sugary kid's drink because the branding won't let it. But independent testing on earlier Muscle Milk formulations found elevated arsenic, cadmium, and lead. The brand reformulated, but cocoa-based protein drinks consistently sit in the higher risk category for heavy metals, and that hasn't changed. Pop the cap and you're looking at multiple protein sources, multiple sweeteners including sucralose, multiple thickeners, and artificial flavors. The cocoa isn't alkalized, so it's low quality and they're purely for color and taste. One bottle won't hurt you, but people using this daily for months are accumulating whatever the cocoa sourcing brings along with it. 3 brands cleared that bar. Here they are. Number 1. Fairlife Chocolate Reduced Fat Milk. Fairlife is the one reduced fat chocolate milk that actually earns that description. And the reason comes down to how the milk itself gets made before any cocoa touches it. Fairlife runs its milk through an ultrafiltration process that concentrates the protein and calcium while pulling out some of the natural milk sugar. So the base you're starting from is already denser and lower in sugar than standard milk. And that means less added sweetener to make the final drink taste good. The cocoa is alkalized, so the chocolate flavor is real and developed, not thin. The ultrafiltration also thickens the milk itself, so you don't get that watery texture that wrecks most low-fat chocolate milks. It costs more, and that price gap reflects something actual. Number 2. Chocomel Chocolate Milk. Chocomel comes from the Netherlands, and that actually matters. The Dutch invented the alkalization process for cocoa back in the 1800s, and their food safety standards are among the strictest anywhere. So a Dutch chocolate milk brand using Dutch processed cocoa isn't a coincidence, it's just what they do. The ingredient list is short. Whole milk, sugar, alkalized cocoa, and a small amount of stabilizer. No artificial flavors, no carrageenan, no high fructose corn syrup. The whole milk carries the chocolate flavor naturally, so nothing else needs to fake it. You won't find it at every grocery store, but specialty stores carry it, and it's online. The import price is higher, and you're paying for a formula where the cocoa actually does the work. Number 3, Shamrock Farms. Whole chocolate milk. This is the one you can actually buy without flipping the bottle over 3 times wondering what you're looking at. The formula is whole milk, sugar, alkalized cocoa, and salt, with carrageenan as the one blemish on an otherwise clean label. The whole milk carries the chocolate flavor naturally, so the cocoa doesn't need a sugar overdose to register. People who taste test these consistently call it chocolate forward, meaning the cocoa's doing the actual work, not the sweetener. Shamrock is also more transparent about sourcing than most brands in this category, and that matters because brands that invest in cocoa quality tend to have more control over what ends up in the supply chain. Every brand on this list that cut corners on cocoa quality filled the gap with sugar, thickeners, and flavoring. The ones that use alkalized cocoa and a whole milk base don't need any of that, because the real ingredients do the job on their own. Next time you're in the grocery aisle, flip the bottle over. You're looking for 2 things: alkalized cocoa and whole milk. If you see carrageenan, artificial flavors, or high fructose corn syrup first, put it back. Your kids drink this every week. The front label is marketing. The ingredient list on the back is what's actually going into them.